Hello, and welcome to week 15 of Introduction to Philosophy. This week we'll be talking about Confucianism. Also, you should be thinking about your final project, and maybe even working on it already. Our goal this week is to gain some understanding and perhaps to apply the Analects of Confucius. Online, per the usual, you'll find a folder with this week's assignments, all of them due by the end of the week. The third assignment, however, will be optional. It is a video and part of a Geniuses of the Ancient World series. Confucius was born in the state of Lu, now part of the Shandong province in China. The Chinese knew him by the name Confucius, but it's been Latinized to Confucius, or Master Kung. He was born into a family who had fallen upon hard times, and he aspired to advise rulers. He was, however, unsuccessful in his lifetime at that. He lived during a period of warring states who fought against each other in an attempt to expand their influence over China. This is why his ideas developed, and they had a lasting impact on China, the region, and the world. After he died, it was his students who kept his teachings alive and kept teaching about Confucian tradition, and Mencius being most famous among these students. And debate and discussion about Confucian teachings have kept his teaching alive for centuries. Confucianism is rooted in the belief that familial relationships are the foundation for society. The basis of those relationships are between the children and their parents, and it's a concept of filial piety. Children will demonstrate devotion and dedication to their parents in both thought and actions, beginning in childhood and lasting throughout their adulthood. You're going to examine that in our first assignment, Confucianism, the 5 Great Relationships. Return to this video after you've completed it. Interactions within a family, based on proper conventions and rituals, serves more than just the purpose of creating harmony. The role of the family is to properly teach children, to prepare them for life in a society that is based on hierarchy, respect, and education. Education is key. Confucius's teaching centers on the importance of education, on the importance of your character. He felt that education was paramount in the development of a just leader. And if you were shaped by an education that stressed moral behavior, and then you were mentored by benevolent individuals, you would be best suited to rule over others. The teachings of Confucius advocated behavior based on 5 key relationships that showed obedience and respect for superiors, be they elder family members, ancestors, or leaders. He believed that humans are inherently social and that adherence to conventions or rituals would ensure harmony. Correct behavior within a framework of set relationships is necessary for harmonious interactions. Imagine a society where every marriage was harmonious, where the family was harmonious, and that a town was made up of harmonious families. And a city was made up of harmonious towns. And a state was made up of harmonious cities. And a nation was made up of harmonious states. And a world was made up of harmonious nations. You would have peace. You would have harmony. You would have, what Confucius believed, a better, more peaceful society. The key here is these 5 key relationships. A subordinate person is always deferential and learns from the superior person in the relationship. At the same time, the superior person has a responsibility to act as a custodian. The expectation extended from relationships among family members to leaders and their subjects. You are not just ruled over. There are responsibilities by your parents and your leaders. Today, Confucius' philosophy continues to influence groups of people across Asia and throughout the world. Countries that show the most significant imprint of Confucianism are China, Korea, Japan, and Vietnam. In these nations, Confucianism is evident in the way in which children talk to their elders, in the hierarchical structure within offices among employees of different ages and experience. And Confucianism also plays a role in the expectation people place upon the government and its legitimacy. Now you are going to analyze several passages from Confucius' Analects. Let's do one together. You will be asked to answer the same questions for each passage. The master said, "In strolling in the company of just two other persons, I am bound to find a teacher. Identifying their strengths, I follow them, and identifying their weaknesses, I reform myself accordingly." Well, it's easy to see one of the 5 key relationships referenced in this passage is the relationship referred to as friend-to-friend. The lesson is it's always possible to learn from our friends. When a friend is skilled at doing something, adopt those characteristics. At the same time, when negative behaviors or characteristics are displayed, be sure to rid oneself of them. A modern example may be 3 friends, JJ, James, and Jimmy, and they hang out together, and JJ notices how his friend James is always positive and makes a point to try and be more positive. However, Jimmy is often pessimistic, and JJ thinks about his own behavior and realizes that he sometimes is pessimistic, like Jimmy. He decides he'll make more of an effort to be less pessimistic. Now continue on with each of these passages. Identify which key relationship it is, restate the lesson, and give a modern example. This is not required, but I encourage you, if you want, to take advantage of the optional assignment, Confucianism, Confucius, a genius of the ancient world. I think it's a worthwhile documentary, but it will not hurt your grade if you don't do it. See you next week.